the Vermont Manchester Collaborative, a group of some 50 community groups along the South Vermont corridor, and they are teaming up with police.
We're not only interested in investigating homicide, we are very much interested in preventing homicide.
And I have tremendous hope in what has happened in the last 6 months in South LA. With the violence reduction, business comes in, jobs come in.
I was part of the problem, but I'm also part of the solution. I was a gang member out in the streets.
Some march for jobs, some march for better police protection, some march to get the community involved, while others are here just to honor their loved ones who they lost to gun violence.
This is my son, my baby, 16 years old. He got killed, gang violent. Boys trying to force him to a gang, and they killed him because he didn't want to gang bang.
Organizers are also asking city leaders for help in improving the community and bringing in more playgrounds and recreation programs.
The community is crying for help.
I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The number of homicides has gone down in the area. Police cite the Jordan Downs housing development as a major success. It has not seen a single homicide in the last 3 years. Fire crews have finished mop-up operations and port business has resumed after a fire ravaged a San Pedro pier and warehouse. Anna Marcos has more on the aftermath of a blaze that could have caused critical damage to the port.
It's full steam ahead at the Catalina Freight Line, the company that brings Catalina Island its supplies. The crates of tomatoes and other necessities are moving again. But it was a different story last week when fire broke out at the Pasha terminal across the water. Luckily, it started after hours. By next morning, most businesses were reopened, even if a bit later than usual.
It could shut us down completely, of course, because we won't be able to get out.
But it took 2 days to contain the fire, and hundreds of workers were sent home, while the residents were asked to stay indoors due to poor air quality. Fireboats, choppers, and rescue divers fought the blaze from the ground, the air, and from underwater. The flames started in the wood beams under a wharf. The warehouse above it housed heavy steel products, and some fell through, making it very dangerous for rescue divers.
It's going to be very loud and very dark. Your visibility is going to be very low, so you have to use a lot of your instincts for diving to deploy these floats.
So it can be dangerous, huh?
Absolutely, because if the dock is deteriorating, we have stuff falling on us.
The fire may have been a small blip on the radar screen for most businesses here, but many know that a bigger blaze could have been devastating in an area that handles 40% of the nation's import cargo. Meanwhile, firefighters lost much of their diving equipment fighting the blaze.
We lost up to about close to $30,000, but the upscale on that is we kept the port open. They make millions of dollars here every day. And we stopped the fire from spreading.
So far, no estimates on fire damage or economic impact. But those who live and work here know it could have been a lot worse. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And in This Week in Tweets, city leaders took to Twitter to thank fire officials for their quick action to put out the fire at the port. The mayor's own personal Twitter account, @Eric Garcetti, tweeted, "Congrats to LAFD and LAFD chief for incredible work at the port tonight. Due to their heroic work, port operations won't be interrupted." Councilman Joe Buscaino, who represents the port area, tweeted, "Great work, LAFD, containing tonight's fire on the Wilmington waterfront. Thankfully, no injuries." The Port of LA was also in a thankful mood, tweeting, "Another round of thanks to our Long Beach neighbors, Port of Long Beach FD, for helping us put out the Berth 177 fire." After 25 years in Lincoln Heights, the district office of Council District 1 has officially moved. Gil Reyes reports from the grand opening of its new location.
Dancing in the streets of Highland Park, people celebrated the kickoff of LA's Latin Jazz Music Festival, also the opening of government offices so close they could walk there.
We haven't had a council office in Highland Park, I don't think ever. So I'm really proud that the office is here, that we can just walk up and ask the questions, talk to who we need to talk to get the issues resolved that we need resolved in our community.
The district office of Council District 1 officially opens at its new location in this former Masonic temple. The 91-year-old building in Highland Park is on the National Registry of Historic Places. The opening took place a year late because of problems with the building's windows. See them on the top left of your screen? Oh, they look great now, restored to their original look, a mosaic of mini glass panels. But here's how the windows looked last year. The miniature squares removed by the owner. This didn't work well for LA's preservation officials, so they ordered the original look back with refurbished windows.
$15,000 to $20,000 of craftsmanship, because we believe in recognizing our traditions and our history, but we also believe in looking forward to a great future.
Some residents in the former Lincoln Heights location are disappointed by the move a few miles north, but Area Councilman Gil Cedillo says the new office will provide better access and visibility for constituents throughout his district.
Everyone will be represented. Every voice will be heard.
At the new Council District 1 office on Figueroa Street in Highland Park, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The building, built in 1923, once stood as a lodge for the free and accepted Masons for 60 years. And you just heard mention of Councilman Cedillo's inaugural Latin Jazz Festival. Yana Kay takes us to the event celebrating music and community.
The smooth and soulful sounds of Latin jazz fill the air, getting everyone on their feet as they hit the dance floor.
Music, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
The music is part of the very first Latin Jazz and Music Festival held at Sycamore Grove Park in Highland Park. The two-day event was put on by Councilmember Gil Cedillo.
This was part of what I talked about in my campaign about creating a community, taking advantage of the fact that in the Northeast, it's a very artistic, bohemian community, a lot of talent, and so we wanted to create venues for them, and that's what we're doing.
And more than 14 bands took the opportunity to perform for the crowd and showcase their talents.
This event is fantastic. I mean, really, just to have all these great musicians come together and just perform for a community, it's just something really beautiful to see.
The crowd got to show off some of their own dance talents as they moved to the rhythm and sounds of the music.
I love the Latin music in general, so I'm just here to enjoy the music and enjoy the day and enjoy, a night out with family.
A combination that's hard to beat. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
Jews around the world recently observed Rosh Hashanah, a two-day holiday marking the Jewish New Year. Gil Reyes reports from a special ceremony at LA City Hall.
Blowing of the shofar, or ram's horn, ushers in the year 5775 for the Jewish people. But Rosh Hashanah is also a time to reflect deeply on the past year, a notable one for Jewish West Side Councilman Paul Koretz.
Because I overcame my fear of flying and finally traveled to Israel for the first time.
And that we can come together as a city, as a community, as a nation, to do whatever is necessary to make sure that our country and our community is better than it was the year before.
In case you were counting, at one point, the city of LA had 6 Jewish members on the LA City Council. Now it is down to 3. The city's top 3 elected officials, however, do happen to be Jewish. They are, of course, the city controller, the city attorney, and, of course, the mayor. Quoting from the Old Testament, Northridge Area Councilman Mitchell Englander reminds fellow Jews to share with the poor. Colleagues say they look forward to the future.
That offers the promise of bringing us closer together, offers the promise of all of us reaching out and lifting up everybody in our city.
We need to make our communities better. We need to make our districts better. We need to make ourselves better.
At City Hall, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of 10 days of awe for Jews around the world, leading to Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. The federal government has given California the green light for the design of its driver licenses for undocumented immigrants. A downtown dog park reopens, and a new exhibit at LAX shines the spotlight on Latinos in Hollywood. These stories and more in City Beat. The Department of Homeland Security has approved the design for the California driver's license for undocumented immigrants. The new design will have the phrase "Federal Limits Apply" on the front of the card in the upper right-hand corner. In response, LA Councilman Gil Cedillo released a statement saying, quote, "I look forward to seeing the California Department of Motor Vehicles implement the new design so that over 1 million motorists in California will make our highways safe and secure." The LAPD continues its efforts to incorporate small libraries within its community police stations with the unveiling of this little free library inside the LAPD Southeast Area Police Station on South 108th Street.
Right now, we have a lot of kids that come here and they just walk in to say hi. We've tried to change the culture of the officers at this station. We've tried to change the relationship between the community and the police.
In its most basic form, little free libraries, which can be located online via a registry, are a place where people can pick up a book or contribute a book, no library cards necessary. The Los Angeles Downtown Arts District Dog Park on 4th Street recently celebrated its grand reopening with a big party. Improvements at the park, also called Saslo Dog Park, include a new mural by a graffiti artist. Councilmember Jose Huizar, who represents downtown, also attended the ribbon cutting.
It's a gift to the neighborhood. We're loving it.
It's definitely nice for them to have a place where they can meet other dogs and in an enclosed space where they're safe.
While the land is being loaned to the community by the city, the park is not operated by the city. Those behind the effort are asking the public to donate to cover operational costs by purchasing stainless steel dog bone plaques, which will feature the name of the donor and a brief message. The Latinos in Hollywood photo exhibit has been unveiled at LAX Terminal 4 in celebration of Latino Heritage Month. As an estimated 14,000 plus travelers move through LAX each day, the exhibit will offer them a glimpse into what Latinos have contributed to LA's entertainment past and present. Included are images of icons of years past, such as Rita Hayworth, Desi Arnaz, and Anthony Quinn, alongside present-day stars Rita Moreno, Hector Elizondo, Eva Longoria, and Zoe Saldana, among others. The CHP is working with senior citizens to help them with their driving skills as they get older. Gil Reyes reports on the Age Well, Drive Smart program hosted by the Office of Councilman Bob Blumenfield.
Go!
The test begins for the senior drivers evaluating their reaction time. The goal, to connect as many of these sporadically placed numbers in order using a pen. You have 10 seconds. Connect 10 or more numbers and your reflexes are good. Connect 5 or fewer numbers and you may want to consider handing over the keys.
It makes you like, oh boy, I'm not as good as I thought I was.
The test, part of this Age Well, Drive Smart seminar hosted by CHP senior volunteers. Students receive this free senior driver's manual sanctioned by the CHP. It contains the test and self-assessment questionnaires about confidence at intersections, trouble when making turns, and the like.
We're not coming in saying you can't drive anymore. We're letting them make the decision.
Rules are neither the DMV nor law enforcement can revoke your license based on your age. So it's up to you and your family to decide when's the right time to stop or limit driving. When confronting an aging parent, sensitivity is needed. Patricia Claude likes that she can take the test home and in private.
Because you can do it on your own. You don't have anybody else asking you about it.
The district office of Councilman Bob Blumenfield hosted the seminar, knowing by the year 2020, California will be home to over 4 million drivers age 65 or older.
As I get up there, I'm actually thinking about what we need to be safe drivers. So we just thought it was a great opportunity for our surrounding neighbors to use this great site we have here.
The best way to receive one of these informative booklets is to book an Age Well, Drive Smart symposium at your local church or other organization. You can do that best by contacting the number at the bottom of your screen, 1-818-888-0980, extension 225. In Reseda, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Despite well-placed concern for elderly drivers, studies show seniors are actually responsible for fewer accidents than teenagers and drunk drivers. An eclectic art gathering in Elysian Park had everything you could possibly ask for. Oil paintings, hula hoops, and the LA River were all on the agenda for the 9th annual Frogtown Art Walk. Anna Marcos takes us there.
The name is as whimsical as the art event itself. The Frogtown Art Walk celebrated its 9th annual show. And what a setting! Right along the LA River at Elysian Park. Among the star attractions, this new installation of kinetic art. Yep, art that moves.
I've been involved since the very beginning when I was on staff of the 13th District before I was elected. And I've seen it grow from just a few street segments late at night to this, an event that starts at about 5 o'clock and runs into the wee hours, and it involves the entire community now, not just the artists who live here.
The artists and artisans of this art community opened their studios and pop-up galleries to any and all visitors for free. There was even a chalk walk for those called to express the artist in all of us. And a little kinetic moving art never hurts either. Hula hoop, anyone? Music, multimedia performances, art, poetry, nature, and lots of people to share it with. All in all, a perfect summer night. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
In this week's list of things to do, kids learning to make their own puppets, cleaning up the beach, and a public star party. It's not your typical arts and crafts class. On Saturday, October 4th from 2 to 4 p.m., the Puppet School at 13440 Ventura Boulevard, Suite 108 in Sherman Oaks will hold a 2-hour workshop teaching kids step-by-step how to trace, cut, hot glue, and decorate their own puppets, all under the supervision of talented and friendly builders. Parents are invited to the last 30 minutes to watch your kids perform with their new friends. The class is designed for kids ages 5 to 11 years old. For more information, go to puppetschool.com. On the first Saturday of each month, and in October that falls on October 4th, join Cabrillo Marine Aquarium educators and volunteers from 8 to 10 a.m. as they maintain the Cabrillo Native Garden and learn about its plant and animal inhabitants. Also join other volunteers in a beach cleanup clearing the shore of marine debris. Groups are required to make reservations by the Thursday before the event. The aquarium is located at 3720 Stephen M. White Drive in San Pedro. Go to CabrilloMarineAquarium.org for details. Seeing stars isn't difficult in Los Angeles, especially if you're talking about the kind that's up in the sky. The Griffith Observatory hosts free public star parties monthly from 2 to 9:45 p.m. with the assistance of volunteers from the Los Angeles Astronomical Society, the Los Angeles Sidewalk Astronomers, and the Planetary Society. The next star party will take place on Saturday, October 4th. The parties are a chance for the whole family to look at the sun, moon, visible planets, and other objects, to try out a variety of telescopes, and to talk to knowledgeable amateur astronomers about the sky and their equipment. The Griffith Observatory is located at 2800 East Observatory Road. Go to griffithobservatory.org for details. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. Things are starting to cool down a bit now, but during the recent 3-digit heat wave, visitors and the animals themselves got a chance to stay cool at the zoo. Yana Kay reports.
Visitors to the LA Zoo are barely visible as they are drenched by this powerful stream of mist. This cool zone is just one of many chill-out spots located at the zoo to help visitors beat the heat.
It's a great idea. Javier is enjoying them very much. He loves the mist.
The misters are all part of the annual It's Cool at the Zoo event, giving visitors and animals a chance to cool off as temperatures hover above 100 degrees. Families enjoyed all sorts of activities. Kids got up close and personal with ice sculptures almost as big as they were. And for parents as well as the kids, it was certainly a favorite chill-out spot. Visitors also got to check out cool ice carving demonstrations. And the animals were not left out in the cold as they enjoyed frozen treats in the form of giant popsicles filled with their favorite foods. And with these misters at every turn, it certainly was cool at the zoo. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Moving is so much of who we are. It's easy to take it for granted. Multiple sclerosis stops people from moving. We exist to make sure it doesn't. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society is a collective of passionate individuals united by a common goal to address the challenges of each person whose life is affected by MS. We believe that moving is not just something you can or can't do, but rather is who you are. That if you are alive, you move along with, because of, and in spite of the great big turning world. Join the movement, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, at nationalmssociety.org.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Chatsworth, offering you a taste of New Orleans since 1986. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Good morning. Shh. Today is Wednesday, October 1st. I'd like to invite you to your Los Angeles City Council. Madam Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bono, Buscaino, Cedillo,
Mr.
Fuentes, Rizzo, Carras, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 12 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Alan, I apologize. I looked at you
No
and
worries,
saw
sir.
Patrice. I feel terrible.
It's a common mistake.
It is. You make me feel better. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Weezer moves, Englander seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Koretz moves, Martinez seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, items 1 through 4 are items noticed for public hearing. We do have cards on items 1 and 2.
Okay, what about the remaining items?
No, sir.
Well, why don't we prepare to vote on those items? Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That brings us where?
Items 5 through 27, there are items for which public hearings have been held. Mr. President, items 10, 23, 24, and 25 should be held on the desk until such time as the committee reports can be circulated.
Okay, then without objection, that'll be the order. Mr. Parks.
Just like to vote no on 5. I don't want to call it special.
No, that's fine. So why don't we do Mr. Buscaino?
Thank you. Items 12, 17, and 19 special, please.
You have that, Mr. Clerk?
12, 17, and 19, sir.
Okay, so what we're going to do, Mr. Parks, we're going to vote on number 5 now. We'll just vote on the individual issue. So on 5, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 2 noes.
Okay, now let's move on to the remaining items, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir. Items... Mr. President, I'm sorry, we haven't voted on the remainder of the items in 5 through 27.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's vote on the remainder of those items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That brings us where? 22 forthwith per Mr. Buscaino.
Very good, sir. That brings us to items 28 through 33. They're items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body.
Very good, sir. We have
cards on what items?
28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. That leaves item 33 for consideration, sir.
Okay, members, we're going to vote on item 33. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that brings council to presentations.
Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start off with the representative of the new 9th District, Mr. Price, who will make a very special introduction. And I'd like everybody to recognize that we have the former Speaker of the California State Assembly and our current Congress person. Karen needs no introduction, but give a round of applause to our own. If I remember correctly, I was the 65th Speaker, so you were the 67th Speaker. Mr. Price, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm honored to be here on a momentous occasion today, and I'm glad that you are with us as well. Joining us today, we have a groundbreaking woman who has dedicated her life to improving and advancing the lives and well-being of Africans, and she has made history in the process. Her Excellency, Dr. Dlamini Zuma, was elected the leader of the African Union, an organization created to strengthen and unify the continent. In this historic election, she became the first woman to lead this organization. But her activism started long before as an activist who fought for the process against apartheid and she later served in Nelson Mandela's cabinet. As we find ourselves citizens of a global village with shared challenges and opportunities, I'm excited that we're finding ways to partner with Dr. Zuma and the African Union. But here to tell us more about Dr. Zuma and about the value of her being here today, we have another groundbreaking female who has served our community well, the Honorable Karen Bass. You know she is, that's right, Congresswoman Bass is the ranking member on the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Africa, global health, global human rights, and international organizations. She has led the leadership in the 37th Congressional District with great distinction, serving the city of Los Angeles and the state of California. Our own Honorable Congresswoman Bass.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilman Price. I have to tell you, it's really a pleasure and an honor to be here before council. It has been so many years since I've stood here, but I've actually never stood here as an elected official, so this is the first time. And to look around the horseshoe and see so many friends that I've worked with over so many years in a lot of different ways, whether it was in the state legislature or in the community, and now in Congress. And I come here to you today with the tremendous honor of introducing one of my personal heroes. And I will tell you, Mr. President, she had the pleasure of meeting Mrs. Wesson yesterday. And Mr. Bakewell gave her the proper introduction and said that she was the real powerhouse behind the president of the City Council.
Absolutely correct.
And I know yesterday everybody was here for Delta Day. But we are really blessed to have the chairwoman of the African Union Commission here in Los Angeles with us today. As Councilman Price mentioned, one of the areas I work on in Congress is improving U.S.-Africa relations, and the focus of that is to really promote business and business ties between our city and the continent of Africa, 54 countries. We did just finish meeting with the mayor, and we cooked up several ideas, one of which is a trade mission that would go from the city to several cities within the continent of Africa. Dr. Zuma, as Representative Price mentioned, has served in a variety of capacities. She was trained as a medical doctor in Africa, and then had to leave South Africa in exile and finally got her medical degree in the UK. When President Mandela took over after apartheid, she was the first health minister, and she helped desegregate the health field within South Africa. After Nelson Mandela finished his presidency, President Mbeki appointed her as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and 2 years ago she was voted as the first woman in history to head up the African Union Commission, which is housed in Addis Ababa. So that makes her really in charge of all 54 countries on the continent of Africa. So join me in welcoming Dr. Zuma.
Thank you very much, Honorable President of the City Council, Mr. Herb Watson, Honorable members of the City Council of Los Angeles, Honorable Congresswoman Karen Bass. It is an honor to have the opportunity to address the distinguished members of the City Council of Los Angeles, and of course a special thanks for the Honorable Catherine Price. On behalf of the African Union Commission, I want to pay sincere tribute through you to the vibrant and global city of Los Angeles and the values of diversity, openness, and tolerance it stands for. Values that we share and defend in Africa, and which are more than any time before essential for the prosperity and stability of the world. As you all know, Africa shares a long-standing and deep historic, cultural, and economic relations with the United States. We at the African Union Commission spare no effort to elevate them into a dynamic partnership grounded on shared ideals and interests. Strategic engagements benefits both Africa and the United States, and this is what first ever US-Africa Leaders Summit eloquently demonstrated. It was a moment of great opportunity for both sides to build this relationship. So my visit to Los Angeles aimed at maintaining the momentum and to forge stronger partnership in trade and investment, science and technology, energy, ICT, higher education. And I'm confident that I can rely on your valuable support in further boosting. And I thank you.
Now, we thank you so very much. Mr. Price, don't you have a little bit left before you wrap this up?
We just have a picture, a proclamation that we'd like to present to Dr. Zuma as a token of our appreciation, and it is signed by the mayor and all members of the city council.
All right. Congratulations and welcome. Okay, again, thank you for coming. Mr. Clerk, we have a couple of items we can quickly disperse with.
Yes, sir. Items 10, 23, 24, and 25 were being held for the circulation of committee reports. Those reports have been circulated, and those items are now before council for consideration.
Okay, well, let's, Madam Clerk, if you would, prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Mr. Lavange.
Mr. Cedillo, please, for a very special presentation.
Impresionante. Todos vienen, por favor, quizás.
Mr. Cedillo, thank you so much for this distinguished group.
A very distinguished group, keeping with the theme of Los Angeles's place in the world, in the international community. We are here as part of the continuation, as we know, of Hispanic Heritage Month, or rather Latino Heritage Month. And so we are very honored. You just met a representative from Africa speaking on behalf of the many states, countries of Africa. Here today we have members of the diplomatic corps, those who are in the diplomatic service. They are all the consul generals of a whole range of countries. We have 12 of them. As we get prepared to introduce what is called Dia de Latino America, and that is the day, October 12th, in which we will be having a celebration, not October 12th, I strike that. I've got bilingual notes here, so I'm...
Mr. Clerk, strike that from Mr. Cedillo.
As you know, Los Angeles is the city with the highest population of Latinos. It is the first for many of these countries, the largest Mexican population outside the capital of Mexico City, the largest Salvadoran population outside of San Salvador, the largest Guatemalan population out of Guatemala City, and on and on and on. This is a reflection of the diaspora of Latin America to Los Angeles, now the gateway to Latin America. It is a community that plays such a critical role. Half our population of the city is of some Latino descent. It is the fastest growing group in the United States, largest market for exchange between our country and their countries in many instances. The cultural expression is felt every day. Have you ever noticed that you can't go to any restaurant today without finding some item that is of Mexican origin or Latino origin? It's amazing. And think of the condiments that you buy at Costco and when you go out and do your shopping. Burritos have replaced hot dogs as the #1 fast food of the country. You know that the place of Latinos in American society is well established. The first Saturday of the month of October of every year will now become the Day of Latin America, Dia de Latinoamérica in Los Angeles. And so we are here. We will celebrate that first Saturday this weekend at MacArthur Park with the celebration. It'll be the inaugural. All these council generals are working together now as a collaborative. I looked at the website and I noticed that they talk about the driver's license is now becoming a reality in California and that people should prepare. It's very interesting to see that they're engaged in the civic life of Latinos who are here on an everyday basis and the issues that affect them on an everyday basis. So with that, I have the great privilege and the great honor, and I will do the roll call of introducing the various council generals, beginning with Consul General of Argentina, Alejandro Luis Casiro. ¿Dónde está? Levante su mano. Eso. El Consul General of Bolivia, Marco Antonio Valverde Carrasco. ¿Dónde andas? Eso. El Consul General of Costa Rica, Silvia Ugalde. ¿Dónde andas, querida? Consul General of Ecuador, Diego Roberto Jaramillo. Eso. Consul General of El Salvador, Walter Duran Martinez. Walter. Consul General of Guatemala, mi querido Pablo Cesar Garcia Sainz. The Consul General of Honduras, Pablo Mario Ordonez. Standing in for the Consul General of Mexico, who is away addressing health concerns, and we wish him well, Juan Carlos Mendoza. So. The Consul General of Nicaragua, Leopoldo Guadalupe Castrillo Ramos. So. The Consul General of Peru, Liliana Sino del Silva. Hola. Y the Consul General of Uruguay, Luis Alfredo Sica Vergara. Aquí está. And then finally, speaking on behalf of the entire delegation, we have the Consul General of the Dominican Republic, or República Dominicana, Celeste Jiménez Peña de Amarante. Por favor.
Buenos días, honorable concejal Cedillo, honorables miembros del Consejo Municipal, medios y amigos aquí presentes.
Good morning, Honorable Councilman Cedillo, honorable members of the City Council, media and friends.
Es con gran entusiasmo y con gran honor que recibimos la gran distinción por parte de las autoridades municipales de la ciudad de Los Ángeles en la proclamación del Día de Latinoamérica en esta ciudad.
It is with great enthusiasm and honor that we receive the official announcement delivered by the council members of the City of Los Angeles, the designation of Latin American Day.
Se dice que lo que se proclama en Los Ángeles se escucha en los oídos del mundo. Y es por esto que esta grandiosa proclamación nos permitirá exhibirle al mundo que el primer sábado de octubre de cada año, cuán unidos y cuán solidarios somos los latinoamericanos, siempre buscando vivir en una completa hermandad.
This will allow us to display to the world on the first Saturday of every October the unification and solidarity of Latin Americans who are constantly seeking to live in complete fellowship with one another and the world.
Decimos que estamos más que contentos y regocijados por esta importante proclamación, pues significa que el angelino valora y reconoce nuestro significativo aporte a esta ciudad, entre otras cosas, en las ciencias, en las artes, en los deportes y en la economía sobre todo.
We are thrilled by this important announcement because it indicates that the LA community values and recognizes our significant contribution to this city in the sciences, arts, sports, and the economy.
Asimismo, nos enorgullece, como decía el honorable concejal Cedillo, ver cómo día a día la comunidad angelina interactúa con nuestra cultura, lo que hace que nos sintamos parte integral de esta sociedad.
Thus, we are proud to see that every day LA interacts with our culture and traditions, which makes us feel that we are an essential part of this society.
De manera que en nombre del Grupo Latinoamericano de Cónsules les damos las más sinceras gracias al Consejo Municipal por este acontecimiento que de por sí ya es histórico.
Therefore, on behalf of the Association of Latin American Consuls, GRULAC, we extend our appreciations to the City Council for this historical deed which greatly elevates the Latin American community.
Por lo tanto, estimados colegas y compañeros, hoy recibimos esta gran distinción, lo que representa para el GRULAC un gran desafío que nos compromete a trabajar con dinamismo, pasión, determinación y entrega por las luchas y conquistas de nuestra gente latina.
Dear colleagues and friends, the distinction we've received today represents a great challenge for GRULAC and commits us to work with vigor, passion, determination, and dedication to commemorate the struggles and achievements of our people.
Porque al final de la jornada queremos gritar a vivo pulmón y a viva voz: latinoamericanos, latinoamericanos, estamos unidos. Muchas gracias.
So that at the end of the journey, we will be able to proclaim loudly that we are Latin Americans and we are united. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and Mr. Cedillo, thank you and these council generals from all those countries. So nice to see you.
So, Mr. President, if I may, would like to present this to the group of council generals from Latin America who have joined us today.
Please put your hand on the proclamation or you may get cut out when it's in the newspaper. That didn't work.
Bueno, todos.
Gracias.
Vamos por fotos.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cedillo, and each council general. Los Angeles holds the distinction of the city of the world, following New York with the United Nations, Hong Kong with its special status, and ourselves with the most council generals outside a capital city. Now I'd like to call on the president of the City Council for a very special presentation that we all should be aware of. Mr. Wesson. Mr. Weezar.
As our president walks up to the podium, can we reconsider item number 6 and continue that for 2 weeks? It's an easement that needs some clarification from our BOE.
We're going to, real quick, we're going to vote on reconsideration. Open the roll. Close the roll on reconsideration.
14 ayes.
Now the matters before us. Continue it without objection. So ordered.
Thank you.
And Mr. President, the date would be October 15.
October 15th. Thank you so much. Mr. Wesson.
Mr. President and members, I thank you for affording us this opportunity. The presentation that we want to kick off today is the kickoff to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In 1984, there was a cancer survivor named Margie Rath on the East Coast that wanted to start something. She felt that it would be a good idea to bring cancer survivors together to raise money for cancer research and what have you. Her very first event, I think, drew 200 people. Since that time, it has been millions and millions and millions of people from not only this country, but throughout the world who have engaged in trying to highlight the importance of us moving forward in an attempt to save lives. Members, my mother fought cancer 5 times, and she beat the hell out of it 4 times. She didn't win the final battle. And I submit to you that everyone who has ever lived has had this disease touch their lives one way or another. Now, I am dumb enough to believe that one day, somehow, that we can discover a cure for this disease and others like diabetes, and I could go on. But we have a responsibility to our children, to our grandchildren, to our wives, to our husbands, to everyone, to use every and any resource that we have to defeat this. This has created sadness for this world. And I truly believe that it is time for us to do our part to try to beat the hell out of this disease. I am proud to be joined today by some of the, if not the greatest firefighters on the planet that recognize, give firefighters a round of applause. They might be at your door one day, and Frank, if you come to mine, I want you to pick me up and gently, but our firefighters have there's not been any important issue that they've shied away from, and fighting cancer, they are right in the mix as well. So today, they're going to make a contribution so that we can again try to research, come up with funding for research so that we can defeat this. Many of us, like I said in this room, when I think about my mother, and I think about my mother every day, have someone that we're praying with, someone that we're sitting with, someone that we're hoping that there's some kind of way to make their life more comfortable. Why don't we work hard to make sure that in the future we can save these lives? So with that said, I would like to turn it over to our dear friend and president of UFLAC, President Lima here. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Council President Wesson, for hosting us here at City Hall today. Council President, honorable council members, and our good friend Nuri Martinez over there. We love your pink outfit this morning.
My shirt.
President of the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, and I'm proud to say that the firefighters from across the country are strong advocates for breast cancer awareness and prevention by encouraging others to give of their time and resources during the month of October. The International Association of Firefighters and their affiliates engage in these local fundraising and awareness campaigns nationwide so that no breast cancer patient will go without life-saving treatments and so that there is hope for a cure. According to our partners at the American Cancer Society, about 12% of women in the United States will develop breast cancer somewhere in their lifetime. 2013, approximately 39,600 women, 410 men were estimated to die from breast cancer in the United States alone. We all know someone who has been impacted by this tragic disease as well. Organizations such as the American Cancer Society need adequate funding so that these advancements will continue. I'm thrilled to be here today to announce that our rank-and-file firefighters, as well as UFLAC sponsors and vendors, are donating $10,000 to the American Cancer Society and will raise additional funds through our participation in this year's Breast Cancer Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, taking place this Saturday, October 18th at LA Live. To accept this check, on behalf of the American Cancer Society, we have breast cancer survivor and Making Strides at Los Angeles event chair Cynthia Van Holt and Jordan Buskirk, the Making Strides at Los Angeles event manager, with us. I invite you all to join the UFLAC walk team and encourage all of you to get involved in breast cancer awareness this month, activities around October, by supporting our local or national organizations such as American Cancer Society. And we want to thank everybody very much for your time, and please wear your T-shirts with pride, council members. Thank you.
Mr. President, continue.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, my name is Cynthia Lozano Vantal. Oh, I didn't think this was going to be tough, and I'm a proud 13-year breast cancer survivor. I can't imagine what it's like to fight cancer 5 times, but I'm so proud that I've been able to fight this journey, and there was only one way I was able to do that, and that was with the help with the American Cancer Society. When I was asked to chair this Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event at LA Live on October 18th, I was so proud, being born and raised in LA. 57 years ago, I celebrated my 57th birthday yesterday. I was so proud to be able to walk the streets of LA, shut down the streets, and kick cancer's butt. I hate cancer, and I am so proud of the United Firefighters for being here. Come on up. And helping us to fight this terrible cause. One thing about the American Cancer Society that I'm so proud of is all the research and all the patient services that we have. My friends have been able to get wigs and makeup and just feel whole again. And so I look forward to the day of October 18th that we can stand on the streets and at LA Live. I'm so excited to be on that big screen and to scream out to everybody. We have 138 teams signed up as of this morning, and we look forward to more. Thank you so much for this opportunity. God bless everyone. I appreciate everything. Thank you for the American Cancer Society.
Thank you. I love that enthusiasm because it takes a fighter 13 years. Give her a big, big hand for that. My wife's a fighter. She's an 8-year breast cancer. You know what it is.
Eyes left.
As you take pictures, I want to salute the United Firefighters of Los Angeles and everyone. Breast cancer awareness, both for men and women, especially for women, very important in our public health. In our role soon to be the commission, this is one of the topics we should have high on the agenda. It affects everybody. So,
Mr. President, I'd like to present a resolution by the city signed by each and every one of us and the mayor declaring this month Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And again, anything that any of us can do to fight this disease, please do it, because we can win if we together try to make this happen. So let's take another photo and let's present this. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, item 1, please.
Item 1, called special for cards.
Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. It should be 2 minutes. HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. And for information purposes only, chairman of the Don't Kill Any More Los Angeles County Mayors Committee. Number 1, we'll talk about that in public comment. This concerns, again, hearing protests, and we're 100% in favor of this. And as I've said before, you squirm when I say it. When you do a good job, I tell you you've done a good job. And stay tuned for public comment. HollywoodHighlands.org. J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems.
Mr. Herman.
I definitely disagree with the lean process, and I thank you, Mike Feuer, for being here in this horseshoe with us to hear the discussion of public interest. Now, Mike Feuer, will you defend the public when it comes to the illegal process of the liens? Mr. City Attorney, I'm talking about the liens in specific. There's been a routine, a casualty of liens placed upon and
this is
impacting.
Regarding a street lighting district.
Correct.
Okay, my mistake. We're talking about street lighting. And we got a number of street lighting issues, and I'm going to stick to the topic of interest for all you in Los Angeles. It's very dense here, gloomy, dark, and unpleasant when we don't have the correct lighting in many of our districts, such as CD11, CD7, CD3, 6, and 12. And I'm here to protest that when we install infrastructure, we include lighting that's the most brilliant, brightest. I can wait. I can hold my time. Thank you, cancer folks.
Hey.
He's not
Mr. Herman, you've completed your time. Thank you very much. Next speaker, Mr. Aikala. Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you got to pay attention to public comment. Thank you, Sergeant. Thank the speaker. Mr. Herman, thank you. Mr. Aikala, you pass. No other speakers. Thank you, Mr. Aikala. No other speakers. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Next item.
Mr. President, that brings us to item number 2, called special for cards.
Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Again, I remember when you had Carbon Arc. I've been at the same address since 1976. It was The street lighting was monstrous. It took weeks to get the lights back. And if you live, remember in Hollywood we have very good street lighting because that's where the rich people go. If you live in the black districts or the Hispanic districts, you have horrible, you have almost no side streets there. And when the light goes out, it is dangerous. Now that you have set up the new system, when the lights almost never go out in Hollywood because incidentally, the rapists in Hollywood would like to thank you for the good street lighting. And at the corner of Yucca and Argyle, the street lighting is excellent, so you can see the giant gang graffiti all over the street. So all over the building on the corner of Yucca and Argyle. HollywoodHighlands.org, minute 2.
Juan Alcala. Thank you very much. Mr. Herman. All right, no other speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
15 ayes. Thank you very much. Next item.
Mr. President, that brings us to item number 12, called special by Councilmember Buscaino.
Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you. If we can't also take an item 19 up at the same time, it's for the RFID.
All right, and tell everybody what the RFID is in our listeners' world.
Absolutely. Microchipping our streets.
Very good.
So,
let's call them both up together. Is that all right, Mr. Clerk?
we okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Colleagues, this issue was introduced to me when I first arrived by Mr. Englander, who first brought this to my attention. Ultimately, if we want to improve our quality of our streets, we should start by addressing the low-hanging fruit. Strengthening the enforcement of contractors who cut into our streets is a no-brainer. There are dozens of utilities that run under our streets, water mains, gas lines, fiber optic cable, that all need to be serviced from time to time. Street cuts are necessary and unavoidable, but we need to make sure that they're prepared properly and to city standards. Item 12 is a Public Works Committee report requested by the City Attorney draft an ordinance that would, 1, require utility companies and their contractors to provide liability insurance for work in the public right-of-way. 2, require utility companies to let contract administration know when a subcontractor will be performing the work under their permit. And lastly, eliminate the loophole that exempts contract administration notification for street cuts under 100 square feet. Also requests the CAO and contract administration report back in 90 days with recommendations for stiffer fines and penalties for those that don't comply with the city's permitting requirements. Also an item before you, item number 19, is a Public Works Committee report requesting contract administration to investigate the feasibility of using RFID tags embedded in the asphalt patch of a street cut, which will include information needed on who made the cut, at what time, and how long it will along the last on the street. It also help better identify who performed the work. This is the same technology as we use for microchipping our pets, and would allow contract administration to very quickly pull up the permit details for any street cut. So I ask for your support on both items. Thank you.
Okay, then let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That's approved. Item 17.
And Mr. President, that's item 17, called special for Councilmember Buscaino.
Oh, you're on a roll, Mr.
Yes,
Buscaino.
very busy Public Works Committee.
Yes, you are.
This item, colleagues, impacts or addresses the peak hour lane reduction ordinance, which was a good idea. A good idea that was took a little bit too far. It just went a little bit too far. It's proposed by then Mayor Villaraigosa. No one disagrees with banning lane closures during rush hour. We've all experienced the frustration when we're stuck in traffic during construction. But good ideas often have unintended consequences. As well put by LA Times columnist Jim Newton, recently wrote, LA's rush hour construction ban is costing taxpayers millions. And what this ban does is prevent city crews, DWP crews, from putting out work between the hours of 6 and 9 a.m. and also 3:30 to 7 p.m. We need to find an appropriate balance between reducing traffic and allowing both city departments and private contractors to service the underground utilities that we rely on in our daily lives. Eliminating collector streets from this restriction on a trial basis is an idea that we put forward. In addition, also, we'll be keeping the restriction in place for major and secondary highways. We think it's worth giving a shot and worth trying on a one-year basis. Not only will this save the city money, it will also allow construction projects to be completed faster, reducing the amount of time neighborhoods are disrupted. And I know a lot of you are probably a little nervous about this, and rightfully so. Nothing will ignite the anger of constituents more than an unnecessary traffic jam. And this is why I'm proposing a one-year pilot program with an automatic sunset. We'll be able to evaluate the effectiveness of the ordinance and make necessary changes. I've asked this to come back to my committee on a quarterly basis. We're also directing the Public Works Bureaus to report on the impacts of this exemption. But in deference to my colleague, Mr. Bonin, we like to hear this in the T Committee for recommendations before we move forward. Mr. Weezar had some concerns about his district with the growing construction and development in his district in downtown Los Angeles, specifically the Arts District. So we're going to send this to T Committee for further discussion.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. And Mr. Buscaino, I found myself just yesterday caught in a situation like you described earlier. So we need to look at this. So I would hope that there'd be a good conversation in transportation. Mr. Clerk, why don't we go recess this meeting and go into the special?
Yeah, 17 voted. He already stated without objection, sir.
Yeah, already did.
Very good, sir. As we recess the regular and go into the special, Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Weezar, Carrasco, Corin, LaBonge, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 14 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, so the first item.
Mr. President, items 34 and 35 are items for which public hearings have been held. A committee report for item 34 has been circulated. I believe item 35 was continued in committee.
Okay, so is that the only item? Because why don't we just take them all up if that's possible?
No, sir. We have. You can certainly lay those on the desk. That brings us to items 36, 37, 38, and 39. There are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before us. Let's vote on the first few items.
Mr. President, in that group, we do have a card in for 37, but you can take 36, 38, and 39.
Let's do that now, and then I'll take the card for 37. Mr. Blumenfield.
Yeah, if we could hold 36 and 39 special, just want to make some comments on that.
Okay, well then, with that said, I'll go to 37 right now. Do I have an Aaron Pale? Aaron? Don't run, Aaron. Just come on up. Okay, no shouting from the gallery. Mr. Pale?
Thank you. It's Mr. Paley.
I'm sorry,
Mr.
sir.
President. I'm Aaron Paley. I'm the executive director of Ciclavia. I'm the co-founder as well with a number of other wonderful people. We have a Ciclavia this October 5th, this Sunday, in the city of Los Angeles, crossing into the county of Los Angeles. For the first time, we are leaving the city and going into other areas with the support of Metro. I'm speaking in favor of item number 37, which is really just a technicality to allow for the receipt of funds from Metro to partially pay for this Ciclavia October 5th and also for the San Fernando Valley Ciclavia in March. And I have for the council, the new neighborhood guide for this October 5th Ciclavia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Paley. Mr. Koretz.
I was just wondering if someone who had the information might tell us the general boundaries of this ciclovia. As long as people are watching on TV, it might generate a few additional riders.
May I?
I'm sorry, Mr. Koretz, you wanted what?
I was asking if someone like the gentleman at the microphone might be able to give us the boundaries of this ciclovia so people watching might be able to connect with this event.
Of course, Mr. Paley, please.
Thank you. It's of course, it's a free, family-friendly event. It starts at 9 a.m. this Sunday and goes till 4. You can pick up the ciclovia route at any point. It extends, its most westerly point is at Echo Park, at the lake at Echo Park, the southernmost part of the lake at Bellevue. It goes down Glendale through the 2nd Street Tunnel into downtown Los Angeles. It goes up and down Broadway from Chinatown to 8th Street, and then the eastern portion proceeds on 2nd Street through Little Tokyo, through the Arts District on 4th Street, crosses the 4th Street Bridge over the LA River into the wonderful community of Boyle Heights, goes north on Boyle, it goes east on 1st Street and then goes north on St. Louis to Cesar Chavez. We then proceed east on Cesar Chavez into the wonderful county of Los Angeles at Cinco Puntos, Indiana Street. And then we go south on Mednick into the East LA Civic Center. It's a wonderful 10 miles of family fun events. Thank you, Councilman Koretz, for the opportunity.
Okay, Mr. Buscaino.
His name again? Aaron. Come back up. We're not done with you. How do we get Watts to be a part of Ciclovia next year? I think we're in the application process, and I thought we got turned down last year, but Watts is thirsting for this opportunity to bring Ciclovia down to Watts.
Councilman Buscaino, we are in the planning for Watts right now.
Right.
And we have not only are in the planning, but we have received funding from Metro for a ciclovia that will connect Watts with the wonderful communities of Linwood, Southgate, and Huntington Park, so that you will be able to walk from Watts Towers to Plaza Mexico and then to the LA River.
Fantastic.
So that's going to be in 2016.
2016, okay.
So we are working on that right now with members of your staff and with the other cities as well. That's probably going to be the most complicated one because there are 6 jurisdictions.
Thank you, sir.
And does any of the other council
Mr. Price.
have questions?
And we're excited about the ciclovia that will occur in South LA, December the 7th, I believe.
December
right?
7th.
Yes, and so we're anxiously working with staff, looking forward to that opportunity to really showcase South LA and to encourage folks to come out and be a part of Ciclovia.
And we will be December 7th connecting Central Avenue with the great Crenshaw, Leimert Park area along Martin Luther King. I want to assure every council member it is our policy to have Ciclovia occur in every one of your districts in the next couple of years. And with your support, in terms of both moral support and funding, we can accomplish that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's prepare. Oh, wait, Mr. Price already spoke. Okay, so let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Forthwith, per Mr. Bonin. Mr. Blumenfield, was it 36? I think I was told that.
Yeah, just take 36, 39 together and just
go right ahead.
Okay. These are 2 issues about the digital inclusion plan. I wanted to first thank President Wesson and the mayor for the great team at City Hall and the nonprofit partners for helping make this happen, to bridge the digital divide, divert e-waste from our landfills. The actual items in front of us, one of them is just to remove a bureaucratic hurdle in terms of making sure that our partners can access the area, and it's about moving the pilot program forward for the incubator. So it's an exciting program. We've talked about it before in this chamber. These 2 motions help move it forward to have digital inclusion that will help all of our districts, the entire city, and I urge your support. Thank you.
39, Mr. Akala.
Communication from the General Services Department relative to the right of entry permit for the city-owned property to me, you have too many codes for the people to have a place to live.
That has nothing to do with the subject. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Akala. Members, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us, sergeants, help him sit down. Let's prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Forthwith on 36 and 39. 34. 34, Mr. Akala. Please stay on the subject. He passes. Let's prepare to vote on item 34. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, what items are left? It's my understanding 35 needs to be referred back. Is it to public safety?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so without objection, we'll do that. And any other items?
38 remains on the board, sir.
Okay, let's take up item 38. Okay, there are no cards on item 38. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, that's the last item.
Yes, sir. Do you wish to adjourn the special meeting and return to the regular?
Okay, then we should adjourn and go back to the regular.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, that brings us back to item 28, called Special for Cards.
Okay, item 28, I have Mr. Walsh and Mr. Akala on item 28.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Again, we're faced with the REAP account, and problem is that you really only enforce REAP east of La Brea. You know, that's the great dividing line in this city between minorities and white people. And we would like to see, and you can tell by the addresses, 51st Street, or East LA, they also, minority areas, Lorena, okay, or West 48th Street. I just want you to know, because the lobby of corrupt real estate lobby is based west of La Brea, very little attention is paid to rogue landlords west of La Brea. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Akala.
You want to reset the time, or you want to give me?
Why don't you talk on the subject?
Right. He's absolutely right. These REAP violations are really rape violations. Rape the people for anything they have, especially if they're minorities. You rape the whole city, but the rich know how to fend against you, and the poor do not. So you're raping the poor more than you're raping the rich, because the rich are not going to let you rape them. They will rape you before you rape them. So
get back on the subject, Juan.
Okay, getting back on the subject, if you do anything to the west side, you lose your job. If you do it to the poor, well, they don't even vote, so you don't give a shit. I just said it basically what it is. It's poor against rich, baby.
Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That brings us to what item? 29, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Called by Mr. Walsh and Mr. Akala, item 29. Mr. Walsh passes. Mr. Akala.
I wish he hadn't passed because he's the only one that knows what the hell's going on around here. City council don't know nothing.
No. You don't. You're not speaking to the item. So now you're disrupting the meeting. Okay. So continue to do that, and you will be asked to leave. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, let's move on. Item 31, Mr. Akala. Item 31, Mr. Akala. Okay, Mr. Walsh. Item 31, John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. I do my homework here. This is quite ironic, number 31, because you're accepting a donation from, you could guess 1 billion times and you wouldn't guess it. You could guess 3 billion times who is supporting senior services here. That's right, the evil ones, Goldman Sachs. Now remember, the money you are taking is money that was stolen from the federal government. It was stolen from people who try to buy houses. It was stolen. This is the way they work it. They steal money from minorities and they return money this way, Goldman Sachs, $1. $1 for every $1,000 that they steal. HollywoodHighlands.org. Goldman Sachs gave you $250,000.
Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Mr. Clerk, I'm going to move to item 32. And item 32, Juan Akala. Item 32, Juan Akala. And stop applauding Mr. Herman and Mr. Walsh. Yes.
Yes, I used to be a teacher at LA Unified, and I did my homework. But that's all I did. I only did my homework. I didn't do your homework.
Okay, speak to the subject. You're not on the subject at all.
Oh, Motion Buscaino Wizard, relative to the personal services contract with Gianni Russo? I thought he was dead.
Anyway, come on, stay on the subject.
Gianni Russo?
No, you're not on the subject, Mr. Herman.
Transparency, transparency. Who's the service contract of this RIZZI? Is it pronounced Rizzi? For providing services for 15 effing years? This is ridiculous. This shows you how corrupted, how manipulated we bribed for 15 years council action to approve personal services, a contract attracted to the council file with Gianni Rizzi for providing services for the 15th council district. Such a joke. I'm going to hold my time under this topic 32 for 1 minute. So on item number 30, I can tell you to vote for Neil Kashkari.
No, your time is expired. On item 32, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This concerns a personal services contract tied to Mr. Buscaino. Now, as you know, the mayor of Bell Gardens got murdered about a personal service contract that he had with somebody yesterday. But we want to know how personal the services are, because it says nothing. I've tried to find out what the personal services, and I'm not even sure whether Giannine Risi is a man or a woman, or whether Mr. Buscaino cares whether it's a man or a woman when it's a personal service. But you can go check it out. We have no idea what this personal service is. We don't know whether who's going to be hired next. Monica Lewinsky for personal services.
Stay on the subject.
She lives in Beverly Hills. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Mr. Buscaino, it's my understanding you want to reconsider
Yes.
an item?
Please, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move to reconsider CF 12-0757 from yesterday's agenda. It's the Public Safety Committee report regarding retention period for LAPD video and digital recording.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bonin, for second.
Okay, so the first vote, Mr. Clerk, is on reconsideration. So let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay.
Mr. President, there are items before you now.
The items before. Okay, you just want us.
Well, I could speak on it if you'd like, if anybody has any questions. If not.
No, okay. Well, then we'll just vote on the item. Let's open the roll. No. You're disrupting when you holler from the audience. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Mr. Englander.
Forthwith.
Forthwith without objection. That brings us where?
Mr. President, that brings us to item 30 called Special for Cards.
Now you are disrupting the meeting. If you do it again, sergeants, help her. Okay? We are now moving to item 30. We have cards on item 30. Now, Mr. Akala, is he out of time? No, you're disrupting the meeting again. And City Attorney, I want to make note of that. And Mr. Walsh, does he have time remaining? No. What about Mr. Herman? Okay, Mr. Herman and Nikki Vandell can come forward on item 30.
We're talking about a workforce development, a project for incarcerated juveniles. We're asking the Department of Justice for a second chance for the Act on Technology for a measly sum of $750,000, again, from the U.S. Department of Justice. Batman does not like juveniles in jail, and juveniles do not want to go to jail. They need to be in school. And I see that the amount for the Los Angeles Unified School District and the amount to exceed only $62,450 is not justified. It is not justified. For the funeral I speak about today is a $750,000 of abuse towards the Department of Justice right down the street. How dare you exceed these amounts, you, the council, and the mayor, on matters presented on deriving from this transitional plan to make necessary technical adjustments? How dare you subject the approval of the city taxpayers for a bullshit sum of $750,000? This sounds very, 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 very unthinkable, Mr. Peppa Pig. But I'm sticking to the topic again. How dare we approve the EWDD request to allocate $292,332 for direct services and program oversight? There's never been program oversights in all the programs. That's the reason why juveniles are going to jail. LAUSD is the responsible party because they do not know how to order tablets. Dumbass. Keep your 3 seconds.
Ms. Vandell, Mrs.
Mic check. Happy Occuversary. Today is the 3rd anniversary of the occupation of Los Angeles.
No, you got to speak to the subject, and that's not the subject.
Me, if you will listen.
That's not the subject. Just stay on the subject.
Nicole Vandell, Nikki V, if you will, listen or not. These are only for those who have ears, so that they may hear about our reality, not the one in your head,
City
but the one in
Attorney,
my
she's not
head.
on the subject. Thank you. Your time's expired. Sergeants, help her find her seat. No, she needs to. No, you need to take your seat. The meeting is being disrupted, Mr. City Attorney, for the record.
Mr. President, not only for the record, it is being disrupted.
Sergeants, why don't we help her find a seat in our outer office? Okay, thank you. Please leave the council chambers. That brings us where?
Mr. Item.
Vote on this item,
Yes,
I guess. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
All right. 30 and 31, super forthwith. All right. That brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that brings us to general public comment for items not on council's agenda.
Thank you. Okay, we will move forward with general public conduct, which will be 1 minute per person, starting with Mr. Walsh and Bob Amano. So if Bob, you're close, come to the mic. Mr. Walsh, come to the mic.
John Walsh, you have no reason to change it. It was 2 minutes for about 10 years. Okay, Bloody Bell Gardens, the shame of Los Angeles all over the United States. You can get away with murder when you kill and shoot to death the mayor of Bell Gardens. His wife now says, and the sheriffs agree, that she was protecting her 19-year-old son when she shot him in the chest with an unregistered gun 5 times. And she's out now. I think you should all be worried up here about, remember, your wives or your husbands now, your elected officials, can murder you and get away with it because a trial would be much too embarrassing. If you want to see their wedding picture of the wife who murdered the mayor Crespo of Bell Gardens, come to my website. They took it down. The only place is at J. Walsh Confidential, where you can see the happy couple before she murdered him.
Thank you. Okay, do I have Bob Amano? Bob, no applause. Bob Amano. Let me have Olga Hall. Olga, are you still here? I think I see you. Please come on up.
You did eject her, correct?
Hello. El plan del Southwest Museum was paid by the personal donation of Al Warnham in defense of the Southwest Museum. The document was taken in draft form by Gabriel Buelna, and turned into El Plan del Southwest Museum. Before this, at one of the meetings, Mr. Gabriel Buelna referred to Councilman Cedillo as a nationalist, which he right away told us he will deny it if we repeated it. Is this the reason he named this document El Plan? To make him embrace it? I believe El Plan is a clone of the 2007 Autry Southwest Society. Gabriel Buelna and Carol Hackes are the leaders of El Plan, and Carol Hackes was one of the leaders of the Blue Ribbon Committee, the Southwest Society, who betrayed the community in 2007. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I could have Mr. It's Michael from the, and I just can't pronounce, Michael, your last name, from the Hotel Association. I do not see him here. If I could then go to Mr. Akala and Mr. Herman.
Is it 2 minutes or 1 minute? Oh, only 1 minute? That's okay. Mr. Bonin, you finally got your gay pirate right here. Today I'm a gay pirate. How do you like that? I'm going to be playing Blackbeard on the boulevard with Marilyn Monroe. She's going to play my daughter. But you see, what a society full of bullshit. When pirates ran rampant in Hollywood Boulevard and West Hollywood Boulevard. A lot of pirates over there. All the way to Frisco. The whole society is so full of bullshit that the kids don't even know what's real anymore. You know, Cinderella, blah, 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 Superman, Batman. Cut the bullshit and get to work.
Thank you. Your time is expired. So, Mr. Herman.
For the record, I signed up the card as Batman, and Batman wishes to address the unconstitutional defect of all 15 members of you, especially the Sergeant of Arms, putting your goddamn hands on a civilian who's pregnant, a woman. How dare you? Keep your hands to yourself, and that Sergeant of Arms up there, the African American, when I write you up today on IA, you will not threaten me and tell me to sit my ass down anymore, sir, because there's nothing I'm doing wrong with the American flag, fighting for homeless people, fighting for VAs, and that's right, Department of Veterans Affairs, the funerals because Sergeant of Arms retaliate against you, every Sergeant of Arms in here. How dare you? And now let's keep it to a special note. I'll see you in Van Nuys Friday, October 3rd. Batman rules. All you kids listening, this is a dysfunctional society of our social government.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time's expired. Mr. Barajas, followed by Mr. Marine.
So let me give you a message from the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. Let us make development a mass movement, just like Mahatma Gandhi made the freedom movement a mass movement. So I think, it's very interesting. Juan Akala, I read some of his material. It's actually just like what this Prime Minister is doing. So it's true that the poor can teach the rich a few things. So we should listen to people who come from an impoverished situation but then come up to be prime ministers or leaders of a free world or a society that is made of free people. But my message is pure optimism. We will work with China, India, and Russia to build.
Mr. Marine.
Yes, as you know, on October 26, 2010, the members of this council were informed it is illegal to reduce the pay of city employees and not provide benefits to compensate the difference between the sum paid and the prevailing wage sum due. And as you know, you have been diverting money from public employee pension and benefit plans for the past 22 years. And Mr. Dion and Mr. Pete Escavera and the city attorney serving the lasers informed you this was illegal. So we know the members of this council once was blind, but now they see. They've been screwing over others than me. So when are you going to take the black pen out the voodoo doll and start doing things white? With a good spirit instead of your evil spirit and covering up stuff.
Thank you. Your time has expired. Okay, that concludes general public comment for today. Where are we now, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and referred. Next.
The desk is clear.
Okay, thank you. Announcements. Members' announcements. Seeing no announcement, Mr. Parks.
Just want to remind the public that the trash service that was provided by Mr. Errol Siegel is extended now to October the 12th at 2000 Slauson Avenue. Again, they will pick out one load of trash for free and anything other than hazardous material, liquids, or food waste. And so we ask everyone citywide to take advantage of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cedillo?
Yes, just a matter that came to my office just recently. A young man is lost, and he came from Pomona the 23rd of September, last Thursday. He came for a doctor's visit, and he's 42 years old. He's a really big guy, but he is disabled, mentally disabled. He's like a 5 or 6 year old, and he has schizophrenia. And so I'm bringing this to the attention of all of us here and the public. We're looking for this young man. His name is Jose Herrera. And he was last seen last Thursday. We're working with Rampart, trying to work with the Pomona Police Department. He was brought in from Pomona, brought to a clinic, sitting in a lobby. Those are the last photos that we saw of him, and then he left.
So those photos have been circulated, though?
We're working on that, and so I just wanted to bring that. We're looking for Jose Herrera, schizophrenic and mentally disabled, and so I just wanted to.
No, I think that's very important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other announcements? If we could all rise. Everyone, you're disrupting the meeting again. Disrupting the meeting again. Sergeants, if she doesn't, just take her outside like I said the first time. Okay, let's, was it Mr. O'Farrell? Did I see your hand up for adjourning motion?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I ask that we adjourn today's meeting in memory of Frank Albert DeAngelis. Born on February 12, 1937 in Nesquehoning, Pennsylvania, to Filippo and Rosalba DeAngelis. He graduated from the University of Corpus Christi, where he met and married the former Dolores Mingus, his beloved wife of 52 years. Frank served in the United States Coast Guard, where he traveled the world, reaching both the North and South Poles. He received a Master of Education from the University of Virginia and is a graduate of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. An inspiring teacher as well as a gifted actor and director, he spent his career in education, all the while acting and directing countless professional theater productions, which explains his daughter and my friend Sarah Dell very well. In 1971, he embarked on a career in publishing that took him and his family to Central Illinois and Northern California. He wrote many educational texts on subjects ranging from teaching to writing to administrating. And in 1987, he won the National Librarians Award, which credited him with publishing one of the first supplementary textbook guides to effective teaching. In 1992, he returned to Illinois and to Blue Ridge School System at a time when the school he was teaching at was undergoing a major transition, and he was instrumental in steering it toward a period of growth and prosperity. Upon his retirement in 2006, he was awarded faculty emeritus status And during the 5 years that followed, he continued his work with the drama department that he and Dolores, the school's longest-serving choir director and faculty emeritus, founded. His family says he was a great storyteller and singer. They refer to him as a human jukebox of the American Songbook. He was every child's favorite uncle, every adult's most entertaining friend, and though he lit up a room, he would always be the first to throw an arm around you and ask how you've been. He was that rare combination, a magnetic personality who also had genuine curiosity about others and the world. His life was a work of art that will live on in the memories and stories of the great number of people who were lucky enough to know him. Frank DeAngelis died peacefully at his home, surrounded by his family, on Tuesday, September 16th. He is survived by his wife, Dolores, whose love, support, and collaboration enriched and sustained him. 3 adoring children, Gloria, Filippo, and Sarah, my friend, his son-in-law, Stephen, and daughters-in-law, Dawn and Crystal, and grandson, Rio. Frank Albert DeAngelis, may he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell. I'm looking again to my right side. Now I'll go to the other side. Mr. Bonnet.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'd like us to adjourn today in memory of Patrick O'Malley. Patrick and I went to high school together, and for the past 10 and a half years, he has been the boyfriend and partner of my cousin Karen Rimza. Patrick turned 50 2 weeks ago, and Friday night had a massive stroke, was taken off life support, and passed on Monday. I'd like us to adjourn in his memory, and may he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Bonnet. Mr. Buscaino.
Colleagues, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Andrew Asaro, a champion in the Italian-American community. 94 years old, born in Brooklyn, New York on July 17th, 1920, and entered into eternal rest on September 16th, 2014 at his home in Norwalk, surrounded by his loving family. Andrew proudly served our country in the Navy during World War II. He was previously employed as an entrepreneur in the cultural history industry for 26 years, specifically being the president of the Italian Sicilian Culturale for many, many years. He was visible at a number of high-profile Italian-American events from San Pedro to the throughout the greater Los Angeles area. He is survived by his daughters Marie of San Bernardino, Susan Knight of La Habra, and his grandchildren Gina, Stephen, David, Lauren, Timothy, and Elizabeth. He also leaves behind his brother Leo and nephew Lenny. Andrew was greeted at Heaven's Gate by his loving wife of 62 years, Mary Asaro, as well as his daughter Natalie Christ, who both preceded him in death. Andrew Asaro, a hero in the Italian-American community, may he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Any other adjourning motions? Seeing none, this council is adjourned.